Good afternoon. My name is Chief Joey Hundley with Forsyth County Emergency Services, and we wanted to take the time today to talk to you about a couple of things since we've got the 4th of July holiday approaching us. But before we dive into that, I would like to speak. We're trying to keep CPR, community-based CPR, at the forefront of what we're doing this year. And so I want to give you some updated data. In Forsyth County this year, since January, we've had 184 cardiac arrests, and 121 of those have been in the home. That's a 66% rate of cardiac arrests in the home. And so I tell you that because what we are really pushing for is community engaged CPR, hands-only CPR, and I encourage you again to reach out to the American Heart Association or your local Red Cross or your fire station or your rescue squad, or call us at Forsyth County Emergency Services, and we will try to connect you or conduct for you a hands-only CPR class to get community CPR up and running. Today we're gonna talk about the dangers of fireworks and do some demonstrations there for you with regards to fireworks. We're going to talk to you about burns and how to handle or control burns. We'll do a demonstration there for you. I want to remind you that we're just starting summertime here, and the heat is what it is. And to remember that vehicles get hot, windows up get hot, and to make sure that you're checking the back seat for children that might be left in the car and or your pets. We don't want to run any calls that involve those kinds of emergencies or heat emergencies. I'll have, as I mentioned, a couple of demonstrations. I'll have Assistant Fire Marshals Anthony Stewart and Joe Holder showing you the fireworks, doing the fireworks demonstration and discussing those things. And I'll have Deputy Chief Andrew Davis and Captain Kelly Bauer talking through the treatment of burns. And I should also mention that we are fortunate here in Forsyth County that we do have a local burn center in the county. Baptist Hospital is a burn center, and so if you are managing any burns, we're going to definitely take care of you locally.
Why is fireworks safety so important?
Well, we know that folks underestimate fireworks and the damage that fireworks can actually do. We tend to watch from the fire perspective, dry heat, humidity, and brush fires, and those other kinds of things that can happen. But we also know that fireworks are mishandled a lot by folks, and so we want to emphasize the proper handling. We want to make sure that you're using North Carolina approved fireworks, which is different than South Carolina approved fireworks or fireworks that you can buy in other states. And so it's our call volume tends to pick up before the 4th of July holiday season, and is busy through the 4th of July dealing with fireworks related calls. And so we just want to make sure that everybody understands how to handle them properly.
Are there any common accidents that you see more than others?
I would say what you're going to see more is hand burns, maybe some facial burns with folks that are just misusing fireworks. But when you've got folks that like to play with sparklers, or in my day the M80s or whatever they have, those are underestimation of what they have in their hands, and then they get burnt there.
Chief, we're going to have some messaging around what to do if someone gets burned. But while we have you here, there are wives' tales and things like that people may still be holding on to. What should we do if someone has a burn? Particularly, let's go with the demonstration if they had a burn on their hand from fireworks.
It really depends on the severity of the burn. Obviously we tell you when in doubt, call 911. I will emphasize that when you call 911, we're going to be looking for three things: the phone number that you're calling from, the address that you're calling from, and then what the emergency is. The severity of the burn will depend on the actions that need to be taken to treat the burn. And then, of course, if it's a child that has burns on their hand, those are more severe than an adult with burns on their hands. If you have an older aged individual, geriatric, and they get burnt, there's other things there that we consider. So, when in doubt, call 911. I would also encourage that if you see the misuse, people misusing fireworks, that you call us and let us know so that we can get someone out before it gets out of hand.
Now, in this demonstration, this is one of the most popular type of injuries that we run this time of the year. Aluminum melts around 1,200 degrees. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. What's the most common injury you get for burn that's at your home? On the stove, right? That's only about 350 to 400 degrees. Once you come into contact with a sparkler, you can see it's going in excess of 1,200 degrees. So imagine that small ounce that you feel originally in your house to a normal cooking injury to coming into contact with this. 300, 400 degrees, you're going to blister up into a second degree burn. Once you come into contact with more than 1,200 degrees, you're going to wind up with third degree burns. And with any firework, whether it's a sparkler, one of these, which is a fountain, you got to find a way of disposing of it which is proper, because they can reignite. That's the reason we have a 5-gallon bucket of water behind us, which if you're enjoying the 4th or fireworks during a celebration, you need to at least have the same thing or a water hose to douse it to make certain that it's 100% out. 49, we should drop. 11:45, 11:40.
1164. 1,164 degrees Fahrenheit was the ice read on that one.
Now we're going to switch over to a North Carolina legal firework. Now the big misconception is between North Carolina and South Carolina is one is safe and one is not. Well, how about we use this analogy? One may be a little bit safer than the other. No firework is 100% safe. Part of it goes into all how you use them, whether you take the proper precautions, such as most of these are being lit in the dark. It's hard to find the fuse in the dark, right? You'll have to find that fuse, make certain you're 100% unwrap it before you ever set this thing down to light. You don't want to be struggling in the middle of the dark, light it. You like the bottom end of the fuse, which may give you 3 seconds to get out of it. Not good thinking, and you're going to wind up in. So all fireworks can hurt you, and they will hurt you if you use them the wrong way. So we're going to set this down. For fountains, just fireworks in general, you're going to want to keep it away at least 35 feet away from anything that'll burn, whether that's grass, vehicles, houses, buildings, whatnot. You see, we got a nice new vehicle here, so I have to definitely keep it away from that. one last thing when we're talking about fireworks, because this is another common misconception. Fireworks do misfire. They don't always operate as they should. We're under the impression that this one's out right now, right? Well, some of you are probably under the impression that it stopped just prior to it starting back just a second ago, because you saw there was a delay in it. Let that thing sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes before you touch it. Then once you touch it, take it to at least a 5-gallon bucket full of water, or have a water hose where you can douse it where it is 100% soaked. Last year we had injuries involving people picking up fireworks. They thought they were over with, and guess what? They started back. Last year we had property damage in which a gentleman thought that his fireworks were done and over with. They soaked them with water, put them in the back of his truck. An hour later, our fire department was on the scene putting out his vehicle and his house. They're dangerous, so use them wisely. Any questions?
All right, so today we want to talk to you a little bit about burns as associated with fireworks as we approach the July 4th holiday. So the first thing when it comes to burns that you want to do, if you experience a burn, or if one of your family members or a bystander experiences a burn, the first thing you want to do is remove the person from the heat source. So whether that's a grill or a firework or whatever, we want to get away from the heat source. The next thing we want to do is we want to stop the burning process. That is very important. We'll do here. So that could be right here. What we have is some saline here. You would like to use room temperature, so a bottle of water in your house. It's not in the refrigerator. And we want to get that burning process stopped, because even after the injury has happened, if you don't stop the burning process, the flesh is still hot and it is still burning. So you want to stop. The next thing you want to do is determine what type of burn you have. So you have 3 types of burns: a 1st degree burn, a 2nd degree, and a 3rd degree. So your 1st degree, think about redness, like a sunburn. So kind of a superficial burn. You'll kind of see that here in the top of this burn. And the further away from the heat source, probably the lower the injury of burn. When you get into your 2nd degree burns, these are going to be your partial thickness burns. A lot of times these will be, the skin will be open. You could have blisters. The blisters could be intact. They could have already popped. You'll kind of see that here with the skin as it started to peel up. That would be kind of your 2nd degree partial thickness. Then down here towards the hand here, you'll see this charred. That's your 3rd degree burn, which is your full thickness. That right there is a lot of tissue death that's in there. Now, if a person has burns like this that are 2nd or 3rd degree to this caliber, you would need to call 911. So the first thing you would do is remove them from the heat source. Then we're going to stop that burning process, and then we're going to call 911. We want to get this person to Baptist Hospital so that we can get to that burn center as quickly as possible. Paramedic Singletary here is going to show you, once we get the wound, the burning stopped, then we're going to wrap the wound and cover it. For a couple reasons. Number one, you regulate your temperature through your skin. So when the skin is open like that, the person can get very cold from that. And we also want to keep that injury clean. We don't want to get any debris or dirt in there. And once we get that secured, then we want to make sure that we know what caused the burn, what type of firework it was, what type of ignition source, whether it was kerosene, diesel, gasoline. That would be very important to be able to tell the firefighters and EMS professionals as they arrive.